all revenues, whether you spend them at source or they are swept to county revenue fund, should be part of a financial statement. So this was the first financial year that we were reporting revenues that were generated by our health facilities.
So then the impression that your revenue grew might not be accurate, because you're comparing with a year when you're not reporting accurately.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, yes, I'll agree with you, because once we consider something that we've not been considering before, therefore it shows that the money reported that particular year might have also been collected the previous year. So I can't with certainty say it grew to that extent or not, but your observation is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Now, when we talk about land rates, and in every other county we have had issues around valuation rolls, issues around land rates, and I want to ask this question, making an assumption that I know your professional background. You are a quantity surveyor by profession?
Correct. Correct.
So it means that issues of land rates and valuation rolls are things that are within your professional domain.
I have an idea, although specifically surveying doesn't relate to land rates.
But there is a relationship.
I have an idea about it.
What measures have you taken as a county to ensure that you optimize your collection on land rates in Marsabit?
Mr. Chairman, this issue of on-source revenue has been a pain in the neck, and recently we've been having consultation, serious consultation. We are in the process of automating the whole system, and we are halfway through. By the beginning of the next financial year, first quarter, I hope to ensure that it is fully automated, and that there are no revenue leakages, and that people will be sensitized. We have a whole workshop we have aligned. In fact, I have asked the department to procure a consultant to take through the whole team, so that we will be able to report good collection every financial year. So I'm on this matter, and I think next financial year when we shall be meeting, we will have a very good report for you, Mr. Chairman.
But the demand notices you have issued are on the basis of the rates of the defunct Marsabit County Council.
Yeah.
Do you think that that is still a reasonable rate for Marsabit County?
No, it doesn't limit to only the matters which were left by the defunct council, but to the whole county as at large. We've really emphasized to the county men and women in Marsabit to ensure that they do these collections and returns to the county government.
I think there are two documents that are required by law that you must provide evidence that there is work in progress. One is a spatial plan. I don't know whether you've completed your spatial plan for Marsabit County.
It's work in progress, Mr. Chairman.
And also an up-to-date valuation roll.
Correct.
How far has that gone?
Spatial plan is work in progress, as I have said, and issues to do with the valuation and the rest. We have a challenge with the staffing levels. It's part of the indent, as I earlier said, that we sent to the County Public Service Board, so that we can have technical people employed in the county, Mr. Chairman.
What we probably will direct as a Senate is to give you a period of 6 months for you to conclude the issue on the spatial plan, because the spatial plan is a requirement. I think it's the County Governments Act. It's in one of the acts. It's in the County Governments Act.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a requirement within the County Governments Act. You need to make sure that you have a budget and you conclude the process, and then a proper valuation roll to ensure that you optimize your own source revenue.
Yeah.
I know it cannot be done overnight, but because we didn't put timeframes in the County Governments Act, many counties have not done the spatial plans. So I think we'll be directing as a Senate that you conclude that exercise in the next 6 months, so that when the auditors are looking at the audit for the financial year 2023-2024, they can report back on the completion of that.
I agree with you, Mr. Chairman, that we needed time, and you are very kind to give us the 6 months. Can I request if you kindly make it 9 months? This is a very rigorous process. We are already on it, and we know the challenges that are there. I want to plead with you if we can have 9 months, kindly.
I think we'll stick to 6 months so that you can report progress.
Okay.
I know there are some stages. Why don't we say we report progress in 6 months?
Okay.
Report progress.
All right.
Yeah, because
Agreed.
if we, as your senator has intervened, he has said the count is very vast. So,
Very kind of him.
So that the time might, but you know, it cannot be. You've been in office now. This is your 6th year.
Yes.
And there was a governor for 5 years.
Yes.
So it has not been done. If you don't put a timeline to it, it will remain loose. So to report progress in 6 months on the measures that have been taken to fulfill the requirements of the County Governments Act and to have a valuation role.
Most obliged, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so clerks, please take note of that.
Well, I'll not take, Chair.
Okay. And I think also the automation. That should also include automation of your on-source revenue collection.
So,
Okay. We proceed to issue number 4.1. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Paragraph 4 on use of goods and services. 4.1, doubtful reimbursement of per diem and meal allowances. The statement of receipts and payments reflects an expenditure of 1,337,872,429 shillings under use of goods and services, which, as disclosed in Note 6 to the financial statements, it includes an amount of 139,638,510 shillings relating to domestic travel and subsistence allowances. The latter balance includes an amount of 574,400 shillings paid as reimbursement of per diems and meal allowances to officers and participants who attended sensitization meetings in Moyale Sub-County between 10th and 16th September 2018. However, supporting documents including requisition from the user department, evidence of mobilization of the public through adverts or chief barazas, the procurement records for the car hire services, attendance registers, daily programs of activities, and a payment schedule for the county officers were not provided for audit review. Further, the expenditure related to 2018-19 financial year, but the amount of 574,400 shillings was not included in the pending bill schedule as at 30th June 2019. In the circumstance, the accuracy and validity of the expenditure of 574,400 shillings could not be confirmed. Thank you.
Governor.
thank you, Chairman. Community sensitization meetings in county government development projects were undertaken in Moyale Sub-County for that financial year, and supporting documents such as attendance registers, payment schedules, daily programs of activities, approval memos from the relevant department, accounting officer, public engagement notices undertaken through the Sub-County Administrator's Office are attached for your perusal, Mr. Chairman, at Appendix 4.1.
Auditor General, have you looked at Appendix 4.1?
Yes, Chair. We have looked at. We have the requisition from. We have the requisition which by then it was not attendance register, and also the daily program for the activity.
Any observations on the? So you feel that the annexures justify the expenditure?
Yes, to our to our satisfaction.
If you look at the internal memo that is attached there, Governor, since this is your document, let me bring your attention to it. I think there is an internal memo from Head of Directorate Community Liaison through the Principal Administrative Secretary to the Chief Officer Finance. Are we on it?
Yes, yes, Mr. Chairman.
What's the date there?
20th March 2019.
And when was the activity undertaken?
What is it? September 10 to 16th September 2018. But this doesn't have. How can it be? Mr. Chairman, I realize a mix-up. I think there must have been an error on the dating.
What is the problem?
The date of the letter seems to be in 2019, referring to an activity in 2019. That must be an error, Mr. Chairman. I've just noticed.
Auditor General, what do you make of that internal memo?
What is this? Exactly. Which date? Oh, sorry, Mr. Chairman. I'm told that there's a claim they are requesting for this activity which took place in the previous year.
Was this was it an imprest? Was it treated as an imprest?
Can you explain that, Professor?
Thank you, Chair. If you look at those documents, that expenditure was first requested as an imprest, but was not processed within that financial year, and therefore the officers have claimed that money past the activity date.
So they have incurred and claimed after the exercise.
Yes.
But there is some authorization that is required for that, isn't it?
Yes.
And where is it?
The authorization was done through the imprest warrant. Maybe it was not indicated as part of the claim voucher. That can be provided, Mr. Chair.
You know, as we said, if we don't see it, then in our mind it does not exist. So when you're preparing your documentation and your records, you must make sure that you provide us with what is relevant and what completes the picture. Because the amount queried is 574,000, I think we have bigger issues coming up. If the Auditor General confirms that they've looked at the records, we shall then mark it as resolved.
Chair, we looked at the records. Actually, if you look at our query, we were giving here that the latter balance includes an amount of 574 that was paid as a reimbursement of per diem. It was paid after the event. And again, going to the next paragraph, the expenditure related to 2018-2019, which still agrees with the same date you are querying, but now subsequently they provided documentation, and we were satisfied with that, Chair.
But the issue of inclusion in pending bills?
Yeah, actually, we noted that in the pending bills at 30th June 2019, they had not included the same. So,
but you had already raised a flag that they did not provide a schedule of pending bills for that financial year. Isn't it?
Yes, in paragraph number 1.1.
Yes.
Yes.
So, okay, fine. I think we have a query on pending bills. We'll deal with all those issues concurrently. Unless there's any other query, we can proceed to 4.2.
thank you, Chair. Paragraph 4.2. Unjustifiable expenditure on rental of produced assets. The expenditure of 1,337,872,429 shillings under use of goods and services also includes an amount of 48,702,681 shillings relating to rental of produced assets, which in turn includes an amount of 7,719,500 shillings incurred in hiring of motor vehicles. The motor vehicles were hired through contract agreements with the different suppliers. However, procurement documents, including quotations, evaluation minutes, original copy of the agreements, the activities or functions for which the transport services were being hired for were not provided for audit review. Under the circumstances, the accuracy, validity of the expenditure of 7,719,500 shillings could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The car hire services were procured through framework method of procurement, and copies of the procurement documents such as user requisition forms, framework agreements, evaluation minutes, letters of award, and details of locations where the services of the vehicles hired were utilized are all attached for your reference at Appendix 4.2, Mr. Chairman.
Auditor, have you looked at Appendix 4.2?
Yes, Chair.
What is your opinion?
Chair, we found the response satisfactory. So support documentations were subsequently provided, though late.
Governor, the first few issues that have deferred, the ones to do with financial statements.
Yes.
The problem is that documentation was provided late.
Yes.
This issue, documentation was provided late. The previous one, documentation was provided late.
Yeah.
Let us understand, to what extent are you involved when the auditors come to the county? From the entry to the exit?
Mr. Chairman, me as a person or?
Yes, you as a chief executive officer of Marsabit.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the team briefs me when the auditors visit. That such visit, auditors come, they make a courtesy call. They tell me they are coming for this exercise, then I introduce to them the head of the department, the CEC, and he takes the exercise over. I don't interfere with the rest of the progress of the exercise, Mr. Chairman.
So you don't see them again after that?
When they exit, they tell me they have conducted this and they are doing this, they have asked for this and that, they brief me. But on the last one, I was not in the county. I didn't have an opportunity to interact with them.
Do you have an audit committee?
I have, Mr.
That
Chair.
is running and functional?
Yes.
Auditor General, what has been the cooperation of Marsabit in terms of involvement in the audit exercise?
Just come up again.
To what extent has Marsabit County cooperated in the steps of audit whenever you go to the site?
Thank you, Chair. As the Governor has said, they do give us the relevant people to work with, because normally, I've never, because of issue 2, he has never appeared in an entry meeting, but their representative like the CCs, the CEO, chief officers, they normally come for the entry meeting, and we spelled out the time we are there and the activities we will be doing, and even we normally give them in advance what we require. Maybe the only challenge which is I've seen is the late submission of documents, because now that like this is what we are going through, we have checked the submission they are giving us. We can say they are to the satisfactory, but if this thing was provided then, because you normally have 2 chances, 3. During the exercise, we keep what we call audit queries for them to respond and give us what we had requested. After the exercise, we normally give a management letter, which they are supposed to respond and give us what the exceptional. And the final chance is to respond to what we call the draft report, to give us also, if there are issues which was not responded at the management level, they are supposed to respond at the ML level. So once we clear the issue of the draft, we escalate everything and it becomes a certificate. Thank you.
Senator Onyonka?
Your Excellency, mine is an observation. We've been having various county governments coming, and we have been dealing with this issue about late submission of documentation. would it be possible, because one of the responsibilities of this committee is really not to be accusatory, is a matter of trying to solve the problems, because some of the counties that have agreed to work with the Auditor General's office, release the documents on time, make sure that all that is needed, even from the management meeting, some of the governors are actually sitting through those meetings. And what we've discovered is that the county governments which sit with the Auditor General and follow the protocols on how this documentation need to be handed over and everything is done, usually we don't waste a lot of time when they come here, because all the issues have already been sorted out in advance and we are able to move faster and quickly. Is it possible then, on your case, that you will be able, as we move forward, to avail the documentation to this team, and even if need be, assign a particular individual who will be coordinating or liaising on your behalf, so that when documents are needed, when a management meeting is coming, you are able to immediately solve the problem, so that we don't come and begin to deal with what they're explaining?
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The issue raised by Senator Onyonka, very important. I am actually disappointed that I have discovered numerous documentation which the Auditor General is saying were not provided initially but were brought to him later on. Going forward, as you suggested, I will sit down with my team, reorganize ourselves, and ensure that we will make it easy for ourselves and for this committee to ensure that things are done professionally and in good time. So let me do an undertaking today that this matter will be resolved once and for all.
I think the undertaking that we need is you will be involved at least at entry and exit.
Yeah.
As a chief executive officer, that becomes your responsibility.
Yeah.
Because how do you come to the Senate to answer to a report that was generated in your absence? You might appear to be very clueless, or you might realize that there are things that were happening that had not come to your attention. So it is important that perhaps as a Senate, we must also communicate that CEOs and governors must be part of entry and exit meetings of the Auditor General. Because many of the things we are dealing with here are things that should not have come to the Senate.
Correct.
If the documents were available. But if they were not available then, and they are available now, then you have cooked them.
Yeah.
And if they've been cooked, that's why ESCC is present. Eva, please go on record.
Thank you, Chair. I'm CPA Eva Washuka, ESCC Liaison Officer. Sorry, I was in the other meeting. That's why I did a bit.
Yeah, so we have ESCC present so that we can now start asking ourselves, if these records were not present in 2020 during audit, and the Auditor General was there for probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks, did an entry meeting, did the audit, did an exit meeting, did a management letter, and were not provided. Now today, you come to the Senate with, I think these are 4 reams of paper. Have your officers cooked them subsequently? That's why I think you must be involved at least at entry and exit. Now, Meshach, where else do you expect the governor should be involved?
Chair, I think the weakness of Marsabit is they don't respond to most of the draft reports. If they could be responding to the draft reports, then I think the issues would be scaled down in the final audit certificate. I think that is a weakness they have, and that was there even in the last audit certificate.
But where do you want the governor to be involved?
The governor should be involved, should be present personally at the exit meeting, and should ensure that the draft audit report is responded to, not delegated.
What about the entry?
Even the entry meeting, the exit meeting, and also ensure that he personally goes through the draft audit report, because that is what details what will eventually be in the audit certificate.
If that was to happen, half the issues here would not have come to the Senate, and we would have saved everybody's time. So I think you need to perhaps give that undertaking that in subsequent audits you shall be more hands-on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I earlier said, I want to assure you that I will be available for the team once they properly notify me, and even during the exit of the exercise. But I want to also assure you that no document here has been cooked, because, you know, last 5 years, Mr. Chairman, I don't know whether it was the same with other counties. Most of the time we spent visiting offices in Isiolo and in Nairobi, answering questions every other week, you know. So our files were being carried left, right, center. Sometimes some of them have not been returned even now. After we got these questions, what the team has been telling me, they took a lot of trouble trying to trace some of the files. This is part of the problem that we had. However, the bit about being professional on the part of the staff and ensuring that things are provided in a timely manner is very important. I agree with you. I want to do another undertaking today that going forward, we will be able to be hands-on and ensure that things are done at the correct time.
Okay, thank you. You will see that matter recurring. It was important we deal with it now, but you see it recurring in subsequent issues.
Yeah.
Fine. So on rental of produced assets, Auditor General, you're saying you have perused the annexures, and in your view, this has been cleared. On training expenses, 4.3. Please read it.
Okay. Paragraph 4.3 on unsupported training expenses. Included in the expenditure of 1,337,872,429 shillings under use of goods and services is an amount of 139,001,587 shillings relating to training expenses, which further includes an amount of 1,239,400 shillings paid to members of the public for youth training program conducted in Karare and Mubisa wards. However, supporting documents including attendance list, back to office reports and authority used to pay allowances to members of the public were not provided for audit review. Consequently, the accuracy and validity of the expenditure of 1,239,400 shillings could not be confirmed.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Supporting documents for the youth training program in Burgabo, in Bobisa ward and Kituruni in Karare wards, such as attendance lists, payment schedules, back to office reports, and approved memo from the Education Department accounting officer showing a breakdown of the rates for the participating youths are attached for your reference at Appendix 4.3, Mr. Chairman.
Auditor General, again, you've got a long, thick pile of records. Have you looked at them?
Yes, Chair, we have looked at them. And whatever we were asking has been provided and we verified.
So, Governor, what was this? The auditor is saying paid to members of public. That these were payments to members of public.
Yeah.
So, under what circumstances do you pay 1.2 million to members of the public? Because if it was conference delegates, that's different. If it was meeting attendance, that's different. But the auditor is saying to members of public.
Mr. Chairman, this was training for our youth in the county.
What was the process of identification of the youth who were trained?
Mr. Chairman, we have